What's going on Instagram Live? What's going on Instagram Live? The title of this Instagram Live is that financial freedom allows you to be more of who you can be. That's a good title. Financial freedom allows you to be more of who you can be. A lot of people are aiming for passive income and financial freedom and location independent income with the goal of quitting their job, retiring, balling out of control. And I think that's the wrong goal, because what I realized is this. I realized that when you are financially free, when you have independence of income, meaning that you have enough passive income to pay for your living expenses, you can approach your work a lot more confidently, a lot more calmly. You don't get shaken up at little small slights. It allows you to kind of really flourish in your career. So whereas most people, they think the goal is to get a bunch of passive income, get a bunch of assets, get a bunch of money, and then retire and stop working and go sit on the beach, it actually makes more sense to take that same freedom and then throw it at your career and become even greater in your career, or to throw it at your business. So that's why I always talk about retiring yourself and then getting rich. Retiring yourself and then become great at your career. Retire yourself and then become more successful in your business. So I realized that because I work with a lot of people who they don't have that peace of mind. A lot of people who I went to law school with, they're like, how is this guy doing all this stuff, like, despite other situations that he has going on? It's because I got these assets, fam, and we only want to get more assets. But the thing is like, everybody should be getting assets, not just those of us that are wealth oriented, but then also we shouldn't just be getting assets just for the sake of being bums. It's like I always talk about, it's like successful people, they tend to become successful not because they're lazy and they want to get to the point where they can't work, but because they're so obsessed with their work that they ultimately get to the point where they don't have to work. So a lot of people think that being lazy is going to get you there, when really working 80, 90, 100-hour weeks is what's going to get you there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I've been noticing that I work with a lot of people who they don't have that passive income. They don't have even the mindset of getting the passive income. They don't got a barbershop. They don't got vending machines. They don't got rental properties. They don't got a consulting business on the side. They don't have all these different things that ultimately grow. The things that you start grow. The things that you start create other opportunities for other things. I was listening to a podcast today with Ashcast, and he was talking about how he writes books, and the books open up doors to speaking gigs. And I was like, that's how it works. Like, when you do something, it opens up doors to other things. And that's why I always tell people to get started, get fancy later. People over here romanticizing the start, trying to write the greatest book, trying to start the greatest business with no flaws, that's perfect, and you don't even know what's out there. You don't know what the market really wants, and you don't really know what the market really wants until you're out there doing the work, getting it in. And then what's going on overseas, and then that's when other opportunities pop up for you. So I've just realized, like the book says, we work to learn, not to earn. And so many people, they put that earn aspect on the job, and they're disappointed, and they're going to be disappointed every time, because your job is not for you to earn. Your job is for you to learn. Your business is for you to earn. Your business is where you're going to get that money. The job is where you're going to get that knowledge. Use your job to get knowledge. Throw yourself at the job. Learn as much as you can on that job, so that then you can go out there and you can do it for yourself, or do it at the same time. I always tell people that one of the things people sleep on is starting a consulting company with the same skills they get paid for on their job. So your job's teaching you. They're going to pay you for the 9 to 5. You can be getting paid from your 5 to 9. And I put out this tweet, and I was talking about how if you don't think somebody's going to hire you for the skills they already hire you for, you wouldn't have a job. Meaning that if your skills weren't valuable for the market, you wouldn't have a job. Therefore, you got to skip the middleman. You got to create Instagram, create a Facebook page, and take that skill to market. I didn't become a good entrepreneur until I stepped into my passion. And not even a passion so much as like until I stepped into my expertise. And so my expertise just happens to be finance, and legal backing as well. And what happens is people see business owners have money and they say, I need a business so I can make money. And so they start any business. And I don't think that's the way you should do it. You got to start a business that allows you to get on Instagram Live at 9:45 p.m. and talk about what you're doing, because it's not really work. I record podcasts at 8 o'clock in the morning and it's not really work. And that's what I think is important. Like the books that I read, the podcasts I listen to are all building up my business, because now I'm not chasing a business per se as much as I'm just manifesting my gift into the market. Taking my gift, taking what's inside my brain, taking what I study, taking what I learn, and I'm finding a way to get it to market. So I encourage anybody to kind of do the same thing. Don't necessarily start a business as much as make your dreams real. Make your purpose real. Take your purpose to market. So that's all I really got to say. I don't got much to say about that. The key here is financial freedom doesn't mean lazy. Financial freedom means that now you have the ability to go even harder, be even greater. Retirement doesn't mean be lazy. Retirement means now you have the ability to go even harder. There are people out there who are retired at 30, 40, 50, and they've resigned themselves to sleeping on or to watching TV, watching season after season of TV shows, instead of seeing what else they can conquer, seeing what else they can build. Do you think that Donald Trump has to go to work? Do you think that Oprah has to go to work? You think Bill Gates have to go to work? You think all these successful, massively wealthy people have to go to work? No, but they probably work harder than you. They're probably doing 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 hours, but they probably live at work, because it's not about the money, fam. It's not about the money. It's about the freedom. It's about the power. It's about the control. It's about manifesting your gift into the world, taking your gift to market. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Top Millionaire. Hey, check us out, gumroad.com/Top Capital. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of value out of this. Hopefully I was able to provide some insight. I was going to turn this into a meme, and I might still turn it into a meme. My goal is to kind of expand on those memes. So I always put out these memes, and sometimes I try to write captions. But I want to expand on that. So the goal here is really just me seeing the difference between me and my career, being somebody who has that financial stability, somebody who has those assets, somebody who has those multiple businesses that are paying us, as opposed to people who their job is literally their lifeline. Never let your job be your lifeline. Let your job be your side hustle, man, because you can have one job, but you can have as many businesses as you want. And the crazy part about it is people know that. I was watching something, and I was like, that's the hack. And so this is what it was. So I was watching a podcast, and he was talking about having a restaurant inside of a mixed-use property. So you buy the whole property, you let the upstairs tenants who live in the apartment pay your mortgage, and then you establish the business downstairs. And basically he was saying, like, when your tenants pay for your mortgage, your business exists for free. A lot of people who start restaurants, they can't keep it going because the overhead is too expensive. That rent's coming every single month. You got to pay for those bills and those utilities every single month. But if you take out your biggest expense, which is usually your mortgage and your overhead, then your business can flourish a lot easier. And so what I realized is, like, there's people who that's all they do. They don't know anything but how can we get ahead? How can we take advantage of what exists? How can we hack this? We are the people who are out here trying to figure it out. We're the people who are out here trying to, like, I hope we get this right. Whereas there's other people who are doing it and it's a given. It has to happen. It has to work because we've situated this so that it cannot fail. Failure is not an option because we've positioned it, we've hedged it, we have structured it into a way where failure doesn't exist. And so I feel like that's kind of where we got to go. We got to get to the point in business where failure does not exist. That's one thing I tell people all the time. Like, we start these businesses and we just kind of wish them luck. Like, no, we got to be promoting that business. We got to be buying products from that business. We got to be doing that because the business is more than just one person getting rich. That business will change a whole community. That grocery store will change a whole community. That restaurant will change a whole community. That community center will change a whole community. That multifamily property will change a whole community. Therefore, the community has to make sure it can't lose. It can't just be one person hoping that it works out while everybody else goes and takes their money to everywhere else but that business. You're actively rooting for them to fail while you're saying, I hope it works out for you. If you are not putting money behind that business, you're rooting for them to fail. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you post. I don't care what you retweet. I don't care if you hashtag whatever. If you are not actively putting money behind that business, you're rooting for them to fail. Nobody else does that. No other community does that to their people, where it's just like, oh man, good luck, fam. I hope that works out for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm going to go support you. Like, no, fam. No. Obviously, it's not working. If it was working, all the stuff we've been doing for the past decade, we could say that that's just how we're going to continue to do it. I think that's very important. As we come upon this last decade, we got to reflect. We got to look back, and we got to see all the stuff that we're doing and then seeing, is it working or is it not working? If it's not working, we got to cut it. We got to cut it. If it is working, we got to do more of it. And if we don't know what we're going to be doing, we need to be strategically figuring out what we're going to do for the next 10 years. We got to start taking a 10-year approach to how we're going to improve our community, how we're going to elevate our community. What are we going to be doing? And what are we going to do based on the projections of what that looks like? Is the goal to start 100 businesses per year? Is the goal to fund whatever we got to fund? But the whole just living for the weekend is obviously not working. The whole just hoping politicians make it work out for us is obviously not working. If it was working, we wouldn't have problems. Everything we've been doing for the past 10 years has to be looked at, analyzed, and structured so we can go forward and actually make some progress in the next 10 years. Every year should be a step forward. Every year should be a step forward. We're not doing no more protests. We're not doing no more kneeling. We're not doing no more any of that stuff. It's only about action. What are you building? What are you helping somebody else build? Because that's just as important. We always talk about like, oh, this is my business. Well, fam, Steve Jobs got really, really wealthy, and a lot of people close to Steve Jobs got very, very wealthy as well. So a lot of people think that it has to be their business for them to get rich. No, you just got to be connected. You got to add value. You got to give value. You got to help build that up. There are people who are associated with the Tide Capital organization who are going to be very well off because they stuck with the organization. They built it up. You will make more money rocking with me than you'll make going out there on your own. I'm a very qualified individual. I got the degrees. I got the background. Sometimes I feel ashamed telling people, oh, where was I? I was somewhere. I was on a podcast interview, and I kind of felt bad because of all the things I've accomplished. I'm like, wow, like I do have this degree, that degree, this MBA, this JD, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Stock club, investment club for real estate, investment club for the barbershop, investment club for the vending machines, investment club for whatever else we want to do. We got a commercial property. Like, we've done a lot, and we're only going to continue to do more. And so I feel like it can kind of be, a lot of people they'll get close to you and then they'll normalize you. And then they don't realize, like, no, you really are that N-word. And so they'll try to reduce you to nothing. People will get close to you, and then they'll think that, like, you're just not going to do nothing. Like, I was doing this before you even came in the circle. I've accomplished a lot before you even came in the circle. I'm going to only accomplish more. You can enhance that, but you can't defeat it. You can't stop it. You can enhance it, but you can't stop it. That's the bar. I don't know what else I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to work tomorrow. And the goal is to strictly work for the Tide Capital organization tomorrow and see what we can make happen for the peeps. C Corp versus LLC. It depends on your organization. If your company is big enough to go C Corp, by all means, go C Corp. If you're just starting out, you might want to go LLC. With C Corps, you walk into certain formalities, but you do open yourself up to being able to raise money and then kind of bring people on as shareholders. So if your goal is growth and you can command that kind of support from the market, by all means, I think go C Corp. LLC is good if you're just starting out. LLC is good if you have a bunch of partners you're working with. But if you're like at that level, it might be time to go C Corp, man. Yes, you got to remind them who you're talking to. Somebody once said, sometimes you need your ego. You got to remind these fools. So the question, more protection in C Corp, is not necessarily true. The protection is similar. You can structure the protection in a C Corp similarly the same way that you can structure the protection in an LLC. And all you have to do is make sure that you make sure that that LLC functions as a separate and distinct entity from yourself, meaning that you're not commingling funds, meaning that you're not engaged in the alter ego, meaning that you pretty much there's a separation between that corporate entity and yourself. The protection is the same. And I think that's actually a very good question, because the protection is the same not only if you use an LLC, protection is the same if you use a trust, protection is the same if you use an S Corp. The thing is, when people call it a pass-through entity, the pass-through entity is a pass-through for tax purposes, the income purposes, not for liability purposes. The only time you're going to have a liability pass-through is when you're engaged in a partnership. Partnerships is where you lose that protection. So very good question. What's your most difficult hurdle when doing long distance real estate? The most difficult hurdle is right now, the most difficult hurdle is fitting it into my schedule, because I have a very, very busy like work schedule. So it's not difficult, because I always tell people that when you're investing in real estate long distance, what you're doing is no different than if you live there. So for example, if you live in the city and you have a roof issue, you're not going to climb on that roof and fix the roof issue. What you're going to do is you're going to go to Google. You're going to say, hey, I need to call the roofers in this city. And you're going to get a list of 15 roofers in the city. They're going to go out there. They're going to take care of that roofing situation. So for me, the biggest hurdle right now is just the time factor. Everything can get done. Almost every single person that I've dealt with, that I've told, hey, I don't live in the state, there's always a workaround. There's always a workaround. You can always find a way to, we've bought homes long distance. We've had showings so we can get tenants into units long distance, because that's how we kind of get the tenants in there, by doing showings. We have gotten maintenance taken care of long distance, because what we typically do is we'll set up a lockbox and we have an alarm system. So when somebody goes to work on it, I'll give them the lockbox code. They'll get the key, they'll go in, they'll do what they got to do, take pictures before and after, and then they'll leave and we're good to go. And I can arm and disarm that alarm just strictly through the data. So I would say that, and I'm glad you said that, because we got to get in the habit of doing what's hard. So often we have this idea where we say, hey man, if what do we say? It's not that easy, or what's the easiest way to do this? We got to start doing what needs to be done, not what's easy. We need to start doing what's going to get us what we want, not what's easy. So I know that probably wasn't where you were taking that question, but I get that a lot. People always say like, oh, it's not supposed to be easy. Saving your community is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it. Like Nipsey said, he said, I'll say it's worth it, I won't say it's fair. So anything that you can do, you can fight through it. One of the coolest things that I realized is like these big companies, these Blackstones, these BlackRocks, they're all long distance landlords. None of those dudes live in their own backyard. So I would just say that the longest thing, the most difficult hurdle is nothing. Technology has empowered us all. You can literally, on this phone that I'm on right now, go on Redfin, go on Connected Investors, go on Craigslist, go on all these different sites, go on Facebook, and just browse their market. You don't got to drive for dollars. And if you do have to drive for dollars in the sense, meaning you got to check out the neighborhood, you got Google Maps. So you can find the house on Zillow, go to Google Maps, drive around the neighborhood, see what the homes look like. It's very important to look at the data, the pictures, but a lot of these markets are starting to get more up-to-date pictures, and you can kind of see the market there. A lot of times we know more about the market than other people. A lot of times being local in that market actually holds you back, because you know all the things that could hold you back. You know, oh man, there was a murder down the street, blah, blah, last week. You know, like, oh man, I wouldn't mess with that block. And that thinking keeps you from getting to opportunities. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Either way is easy. Have you executed a real estate development yet? No, but I was actually just thinking about that today because I just drove past a potential hotel. So the goal will be to do something of that magnitude. Yeah, haven't got there yet, but that's the goal. And the cool thing about it is doing what we can do gets us to where we want to go. So now it's like you start having that conversation with somebody. It's an intelligent conversation. You have a track record. So not there yet, but that's what we're working towards. Can I talk about wholesaling? Wholesaling is something that I don't do. It's something I'm looking to get into doing, because I don't really think wholesaling, in my opinion, is just intelligent investing. Why? Because your goal is to get something that's undervalued. And the quote says, all intelligent investing is value investing. So when you're wholesaling, the goal is to get something from a distressed seller or buy distressed property. So it's like either distressed property or distressed seller. Then the goal is to effectively negotiate the numbers and see what makes sense. So a lot of people that go in there, you got to look at the ARV, you got to look at what the comps are selling for. People have different ways they compute the comps. Sometimes I'll go to Redfin and I'll just look at the recent sales in that zip code. And so that'll help you kind of determine what the after repair value is based on the actual homes that have been renovated in that area. And then what you do immediately is you multiply it times 0.7. And then you take that 0.7, you subtract in the repair costs, and then you subtract your fee, and that typically gives you how much money you can offer. But there's an even better formula that I found out recently where you just kind of take that ARV and cut it in half. So there's a lot of money to be made in wholesaling. Wholesalers are making a lot of money, but the thing is I just think it's intelligent investing. Why do I say that? Because when you wholesale, you control the deal, and control in a lot of ways is more important than money. So for example, if I get a deal from a wholesaler, my only option is cash buyer. If I get a deal from the actual owner, I can lease option it. I can wholesale it myself. I can sell or finance it. I can put a down payment on it and finance it. I can put cash if I want to. I can get a loan on it if I want to. The exit strategy is amplified when you get the deal directly. So that's kind of my goal, is to do more mailers, do more phone calls to get the deal directly. Your opinion on setting up the trust first, then LLC or C Corp. It doesn't matter as long as you put everything in the trust for real estate or other businesses. So I kind of understand your question, but I'm kind of not sure. What's going on? Credit is powerful. Your opinion on setting up a trust first, then LLC or C Corp. So I would say trust, the downside with the trust is they're very rigid. People put assets in trusts with the intent that they're going to stay there. LLCs and C Corps and corporate entities are more flexible, but a trust is more permanent. A trust is something you want to keep in your family for a long time. So I would say, I would recommend not to really play with trusts. I would recommend to, like, as you grow your wealth and you want to start making things permanent and you want to make sure that it stays in your family, then you put that thing in a trust. In regards to setting up an LLC first or C Corp, nobody really does corporations anymore, whether it's an S Corp or a C Corp. People might disagree with that statement, but most companies these days are LLC because it's the most modern form of business structure. An LLC allows you to engage in what I call a hybrid of a partnership and a corporation, because an LLC, you have members, and the members are effectively the partners. You can also have a manager of that, or you can actually just have it managed by the members. Then you can determine based on how you want to tax it. So an LLC can still function as an S Corp, meaning it can be taxed as an S Corp, it can be treated as an S Corp, or it can be treated as just a strict not a pass-through entity, or it could be treated as a partnership. So it can be taxed as a partnership or it can be taxed as an S Corp. So I would just say that I tell people, man, I don't know your personal situation, but I would recommend that you get started and get fancy later. Corporations kind of scare me just because they have more formalities than necessary. So when you have a corporation, you have certain things you have to do. You have to have annual meetings. You have to have bylaws. You have to vote on those bylaws. You have to do all these different things. You have to issue shares. All these things that an LLC does not require. The thing is, LLCs, like I said, it's the more modern way. If there was technology, a corporation would be the iPhone X and an LLC would be the iPhone 11. Like, as things have advanced, they've created new structures to structure your business. So a C Corp is like the super antiquated way of doing it. When he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, he was talking about the rich move things through corporations, and that's that was the hype at the time. Now it's all about having an LLC. It's easy to set up, it's flexible, and it doesn't require, because the thing is you could potentially ruin all your liability protection if you do not engage in your C Corp the right way. And what people don't realize is it's very easy to get into the alter ego mess. Granted, an LLC can still function as an alter ego, but an alter ego is a way that you pierce the corporate veil. So if they can determine that you are using your LLC or your corporation as a personal piggy bank, you're paying your personal bills out of that, you're transferring money to and fro, then you lose that corporate protection that you want. So if somebody slips and falls in your property and they sue you, or they sue the entity, they can sue you. If you breach a contract, or if you have a contract issue, or if you have an eviction or something along those lines, like, they can go after you directly. You lose all of that power. So it's important to, I say, not make it more complicated than you have to. Get fancy later. Do you use a local Detroit lender that is a portfolio friendly? We buy everything in Detroit cash because it's affordable. So right now, I was actually just about to call 2 lenders today, because the goal is, as we scale, is to get into getting some financing. So I'll update you guys on that as we move forward. This question is, do you manage your social media or outsource? I manage it. I used to have somebody who helped do it, but I've just been kind of doing it lately. So, I mean, the beauty of it is I digest so much financial content that I always have something to share. And so that's kind of the beauty of following your passion or your purpose, is you're immersed in it at all times. So if I wasn't doing this, I'd be watching a YouTube video on the same topic, or reading a book on the same topic, or something along those lines. This actually went longer than I expected. Are you buying real estate in Detroit? If so, are you still buying? Right now, we are in the process of just rehabbing what we own. So we're not necessarily buying more as much as we're rehabbing. So we have 5 doors that are good to go. We have another 5 that need to be rehabbed. So the goal is to focus on rehabbing those 5, but also rehabbing our commercial space. So I would like this year to strictly be focused on rehabbing what we have, as opposed to buying something. The only way I'm buying something is if it's tenant occupied and if it needs no rehab or a light rehab. So I'm actually looking for portfolios. I'm looking for 10 to 20 doors of tenant occupied properties. That's kind of where we want to go. And then who knows, we might figure out a way to creatively flip our way out of that, where we can sell off some of the doors and then pay off the debt. So a lot of questions. This is lit. This is kind of cool. Shout out to you guys for asking questions. Yeah, I'm tired. This is a lot of talking. Hopefully you guys got some value. I will save it. Hopefully I can save it and put it on Instagram or put it on YouTube. That'd be even better. So you guys have a good night. Have a good Christmas. Oh, check us out, gumroad.com/Todd Capital. Yeah, Dr. Dre, that is a lot more advanced than me. That's above my level right there, in all honesty. So I'd have to really give that some thought. Gumroad.com/Todd Capital, oglesbyholdings.co. Check us out. Support the store. As you support us, we can bring you more valuable content. We can bring you more valuable game, and hopefully allow you to enhance your wealth plays. You guys have a good night.